I just want to fight now. It was always Ilia. You know, wanted Ilia, wanted the rematch. You know, obviously that's going to be a bigger driving factor for me, losing to him and wanting that win back. So that's all I wanted it for a while. And then it got to a point where I didn't know what was happening. I was like, all right, now just give me whatever for the belt now.
Otro reto que es el que tienen Volkanovski y Diego López. ¿Te atreves a darme una predicción rápida de ese cinturón vacante que has dejado libre?
No sé, predecir el futuro de nuestros hijos es complicado, pero no sé. Le deseo suerte a los dos, pero vamos, todo el mundo sabe quién manda en esa división. Simplemente les he dejado un juguete para que se diviertan, porque para ellos es importante. A mí no me hace falta ningún cinturón.
No, he did really want to move up. So I did hear he wanted to, but they still weren't sure of that actually happening. And then, so I was thinking it must be either interim or fight for the belt against Ilia. So it was like that for a while. And then in Sydney is actually where we found out. So that's they must have had a in-person sort of meeting, conversation. And, it must have been Ilia going, look, I'm committing to 155. And then literally they gave me all right, it's Diego in Miami.
Earlier this week, you had some unkind words to say about his haircut. Now you've seen it in person, do you still believe it's the worst hair in the UFC?
I don't think it was unkind words, I was just saying that, you had the mullet at the back, and then at the front, it was just a whole different vibe. I started getting the, 'cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind. I won't live to see another day. I swear it's true.
Alexander Volkanovski slams Ilia Topuria for running away to 155. Moreover, Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler are ready to destroy each other at UFC 314.
Hey, the resume speaks for itself, man. I've done nothing but doing hand-to-hand combat for 24 years. I love what I do, and I love doing it in the UFC. And if you don't love the brand of Paddy Pimblett, it's fun, it's exciting. He's a guy who brings it. Scousers don't get knocked out. We'll put his name to the test. UFC 314. Let's go, baby.
Talking about the main event first, Volkanovski has made it clear that he feels confident in his ability to defeat Diego Lopez in every aspect of their upcoming fight. Set to take place on April 12th, this bout will determine the next featherweight champion, after Ilia Topuria relinquished the title to go up a weight class. This has opened an opportunity for both Volk and Lopes to get the crown at 145. Volkanovski is eager to reclaim his throne, but Lopes has also been steadily building his reputation with 5 consecutive wins, including 3 finishes since his UFC debut. However, Volkanovski is unshaken by Lopes' rise and believes he can outmatch his Brazilian opponent no matter where the fight goes. While Lopes is known for his dangerous submission game, the former featherweight champion isn't worried about engaging in grappling exchanges. In fact, Volkanovski believes he could dominate Lopes in wrestling or grappling should it come to that. He suggests that even if Lopes manages to get him into a position where he's typically strong, Lopes will soon realize that he's dealing with someone who won't back down. Volkanovski is confident that Lopez will eventually feel the pressure of his relentless will, which he feels will lead to Lopes becoming frustrated and uncomfortable during the fight.
I'm planning on going out there and looking good, going out there and doing my thing and I'm bringing that belt back home. I'm very, very confident of that. And after that, I think that just sets up for an even bigger fight, whether that is still at featherweight or it's at I don't know. We could still maybe make that happen, but everyone's going to change their tone after this one, I guarantee you. And everyone has every right. I'm coming off 2 losses.
The Aussie's mindset is built on a strong foundation. Having already cleaned out much of the featherweight division, Volkanovski is no stranger to tough challenges. His defeat to Ilia Topuria in the title bout at UFC 298 added fuel to the fire of critics. Despite these challenges, Volkanovski is focused on reasserting himself in the division and is confident that his experience and all-around skill set will be more than enough to overcome Lopes.
36, almost they'll be 37 at the end of the year. So a lot of people are going to be like, he's done, he's dusted. And they have every right to think that. until I change their mind. So that's what I plan on doing in April.
As Volkanovski prepares for the fight, he's been sharpening all areas of his game, knowing that Lopes is dangerous everywhere. Volkanovski is not afraid to stand with Lopes, but his versatility gives him the confidence to take the fight wherever he needs to, whether it's in the clinch or on the ground. His ability to adapt and keep fighting when things are not going his way is a point of pride for Volkanovski, who believes that he has the mental fortitude to overcome any challenge Lopes presents.
Plan on defending ASAP, and you're going to see that active champ you guys remember, and I'll get a free in this year. So yous will quickly be reminded of what the featherweight division's like.
The matchup has been a point of contention within the MMA community, with many fans and pundits questioning the UFC's decision to pit Volkanovski against Lopes for the vacant title, instead of considering Movsar Evloev, who many view as the rightful next challenger. Evloev himself, who is undefeated and a former opponent of Lopes, was vocal in expressing his disappointment at not receiving a title shot despite holding a recent win over Lopes. While he feels he was overlooked, Evloev also expressed his understanding of the current state of the sport, noting that showmanship, trash talking, and highlight reel finishes are often given priority in the UFC's matchmaking decisions. Movsar said, "No, but people who are rooting for the sport, they were waiting for me as a contender for the title, but now it's a little bit of a different time because people need more trash, talk, dirty stuff, some finishes. Even if you lose 10 times but you have finishes, you have more of a chance to get a title shot." As for Volkanovski, he has made it known that his eyes are on the future, particularly a potential bout with Movsar Evloev should he successfully defeat Lopes and reclaim his title. Volkanovski has been clear in stating that he plans to call out Evloev after the fight, with a proposed title defense against the undefeated Russian in a matter of months. His desire to fight Evloev stems from his belief that the undefeated contender deserves a crack at the title, and Volkanovski's willingness to take on all challengers remains one of his defining characteristics. Despite this focus on Evloev, Volkanovski hasn't ruled out the possibility of a rematch with Ilia Topuria, especially if the Georgian decides to move back down to featherweight. The former champion recognizes that there's still a chance for that big money rematch, but for now, his primary focus is on securing the featherweight title once more.
I think Movsar is definitely deserving as well. He was obviously a very close fight with Aljamain. So it's, it's just if you've got to make that decision, you've got to, a dominant victory over Brian Ortega, active. He's, a lot of hype around him. So you can see why they're saying it's I can see both ways. So I'm not surprised at all that it's Lopes.
Part of you that's disappointed you can't get that one back against him?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that I can't. This still can happen. Like I'm planning on going out there and looking good. You know what I mean? Going out there and doing my thing and I'm bringing that belt back home. I'm very, very confident of that.
Although Volkanovski's confidence is unwavering, his personal journey has been far from easy. The Australian fighter has been open about his struggles with balancing his fight career and family life. For many years, he sacrificed a lot of his personal time and energy to provide for his family, something that he does without hesitation. However, there was a period when he wasn't sure if he'd continue fighting at all. Volkanovski admits that the time off following his losses gave him a chance to reflect on his career, and it was during this period that he began to think about retirement. The thought of leaving the sport was a difficult one, especially considering the sacrifices he's made throughout his career. However, with the title fight against Lopes on the horizon, Volkanovski has found new motivation and purpose. He has made it clear that he's not done yet, and he's determined to make his comeback in spectacular fashion.
It hurts. You're in pain. You get stuck into it. Like that's what it takes to be a lead and be the best and be at the top. And I accept nothing but that. So it ain't easy. So I'm expected to maybe have a few more. A few more. We'll see. I'll say that now. I'll have a fight and absolutely love it. Be like, you know what? Give me another 7.
Yeah.
In contrast, some of Volkanovski's fellow fighters have weighed in on the upcoming title bout with varying perspectives. Aljamain Sterling has predicted a one-sided affair in favor of Volkanovski. Sterling believes that the Australian is in exceptional shape and will dominate Lopes due to his superior skill set across all areas. According to Sterling, Lopes' all-or-nothing fighting style will play into Volkanovski's hands, as he believes Lopes won't be able to match Volkanovski's pace over 5 rounds. Sterling points out that Lopes' lack of pacing and reliance on a blitzing strategy in the early rounds could lead to his downfall if he doesn't manage to hurt Volkanovski early. Volkanovski, in contrast, is known for his well-rounded game, strong grappling, and intelligent striking, which should allow him to take control of the fight as it progresses.
He is in phenomenal shape. What he does great versus what Diego Lopez does great is not the same. Volk is super well-rounded. He's strong in every single department. Maybe not a submission specialist, but he's very hip to the grappling game, where Diego Lopez is a very good grappler in terms of submission threats. But when it comes to striking, he is an all or nothing guy in the first round. There's no pacing for Diego Lopez.
Meanwhile, Kenny Florian also weighed in on the fight, offering his thoughts on what could happen depending on which version of Volkanovski shows up. Florian questioned whether Volkanovski would fight cautiously or aggressively after his recent knockout losses. He acknowledged Volkanovski's ground game and grappling as strong points, but expressed concern over Lopes' early aggression. According to Florian, if Volkanovski can survive the initial onslaught from Lopes, he'll likely take over the fight as it moves into the later rounds. He said he's Lopes going to go out there and he's going to try to find that chin of Volkanovski's early and often until that final bell. If he tries to knock Lopes out and really counter him, that could be extremely dangerous. Coming to the co-main event of UFC 314, Paddy Pimblett is on the brink of facing the biggest challenge of his career to date. The British fighter is preparing to face Michael Chandler, who has battled some of the sport's toughest names. For Pimblett, this is more than just another fight. His record in the UFC stands at an impressive 6-0, and a win over Chandler would likely propel him into the top 10 of the lightweight rankings. The 30-year-old has faced criticism and doubt throughout his career, with many observers underestimating his abilities despite his undefeated UFC streak. The challenge of facing a top 10 opponent in Chandler, who has fought legends like Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and has been in the title mix multiple times, gives Pimblett an opportunity to silence his critics once and for all.
Michael Chandler is coming off a loss and is going to take on a guy who in the history of his time in the promotion has never lost. It doesn't change the fact of the awkwardness. Paddy the Baddy has always used a little bit of personal animosity as a way of motivating himself, and that's just not a component here. You gotta understand, Paddy is for sure a top 10 draw in the sport. I'm not sure he's not top 5, but Paddy's never fought for title and Paddy's never main evented. To be a top 10 draw without having the power of the machine behind you, yeah, it's a big deal. I thought it was a gimmick. No, it's not a gimmick. And frankly, he's not a little kid with funny things to say and an interesting haircut. He's married with 2 kids. This is a grown man who, by the way, is undefeated in the UFC. Like, I have not seen anything from Paddy that would disqualify him from having the potential to be a world champion. I believe he is 2 fights away from fighting for the world championship, but fighting Michael Chandler off a loss. If there's ever a time to not have to face that son of a bitch, it's off a loss.
Despite his unbeaten run, Pimblett knows that the goalpost will move once again after this fight. Throughout his career, it's been a trend that every time he wins, people raise new doubts or questions, pushing his potential success further out of reach. He fully expects that to happen once more if he defeats Chandler. However, he's confident that a victory will catapult him into title contention, citing that he will be ranked number 1, 7 in the division, just 1 fight away from challenging for the lightweight belt.
When I win, people can chat shit, but they will, know what I mean? The goalposts always get moved when I win. People will start saying stuff, but I'm going to be ranked number 7 once this fight's over, and I will be in title contention.
On the other hand, Chandler is coming off a turbulent stretch in his UFC career, with a series of losses that have left him at a crossroads. After dropping a decision to Charles Oliveira in a title fight and falling short against Justin Gaethje, Chandler has found himself on the outside looking in, but not for lack of effort. The 38-year-old has been vocal about his motivation, claiming that his recent string of losses has given him a new fire to keep pushing for a title.
I think I was just so dang sure that this is exactly how it was supposed to be, that I was going to lose to Charles Oliveira in the first fight, lose my opportunity at a world title, to then get an opportunity to fight him for the number 1 contender spot, to then fight Islam, who's arguably is a bigger name, a more seasoned champion. And I was just 100% sure that I was going to win, man. And like you said, man, I'm not a big excuses guy, but I know what happened in that fight. And it hindered me, and I have now healed, and we are good. And now I'm excited to go, like you said, Unfortunately, I got to take it out on Paddy Pimblett, but somebody was going to get it taken out on their face and their body and their soul.
In interviews leading up to the fight, Chandler has spoken with a mix of respect and intensity when discussing Pimblett. While acknowledging the young Brit's potential, Chandler believes that Pimblett is in for a rude awakening when they meet inside the cage. Chandler believes that Pimblett, while talented, has not faced anyone like him before. The former Bellator champion predicts that his experience, wrestling, and striking power will prove too much for Pimblett, who has not yet been tested by someone of Chandler's caliber. He said, "I believe I'm going to put pressure on him. I believe he will know right away within the first exchange that he is not stepping into the octagon with Bobby Green, with Tony Ferguson. It's just a different level, and I still believe where I'm at, it's a bad matchup stylistically for him." As they enter this fight, both men bring contrasting attitudes toward their respective journeys. For Pimblett, the UFC 314 fight is his opportunity to solidify his place as a legitimate title contender. He's already eyeing a potential showdown with the current lightweight champion, Islam Makhachev, although he's also open to a grudge match with his longtime rival, Ilia Topuria. Topuria, who recently vacated the featherweight title to move up to lightweight, has been a thorn in Pimblett's side ever since the two exchanged words at UFC London in 2022. The animosity between the two is well documented, and Pimblett has expressed a desire to settle the score once he secures a title shot. Despite his intense focus on the title picture, Pimblett has made it clear that he's not focused solely on Makhachev. He's willing to face any top contender, including the likes of Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, or even Chandler if the opportunity presents itself. The key for Pimblett is to keep moving forward, to keep pushing through obstacles until he's standing at the top of the lightweight division.
Question for Paddy. Paddy, I noticed you said if you get a win here, it'll be into title contention. If you continue to make that ascent, who would you rather see holding that belt? The pound-for-pound great Islam Makhachev or your old buddy Ilia Topuria?
Islam. I don't think he gets near him. After I beat Chandler, I'd love to fight Ilia next, but we'll see what happens. Love to fight Poirier, love to fight Charles. Just want to fight someone who'll get me the title fight, because obviously that's what we do this for. You want to be the best in the world, and to prove you're the best in the world, you've got to hold that lightweight title.
However, the road to that point isn't without its challenges. Pimblett has often come under fire for his weight fluctuations, with critics pointing to his need for a major weight cut during training camps. Despite these concerns, Pimblett has consistently shown up on fight night in peak condition, and the early signs of his training camp for the Chandler fight indicate that this time, he's taking things even more seriously. A month out from the fight, Pimblett posted a video showing off his lean physique, flexing his six-pack abs after a workout. He was quick to mention that he wasn't as heavy as people often think, noting that his weight was under control, and he felt good physically. Fans were quick to take notice of his early progress, with many impressed by how well he appeared to be shaping up so far ahead of the fight. Some remarked that he looked fitter than ever, and others were already predicting that Chandler would be in for a tough night. Pimblett's confidence is apparent, and he seems ready to take on whatever Chandler throws at him.
I feel good, especially 6 and a bit weeks out, lad. Feel very good, it's nice. I'm obviously happy the position I'm in now. My weight's not too high. Everyone always calls me fat, but my weight's not too high, lad. That's going to come down nice and easy. Probably going to have more weight to cut than Chandler because I'm a lot bigger for the weight. The thing I'm dreading the most though is the fight sim, because I've all seen me do it. Do like a fight sim, 3 rounds, and it's much tougher than a fight. Now I'm going to have to do it for 5 rounds, even though the fight's not going 5 rounds.
Lad, Paddy's always go.
The baddie has yet to face anyone with Chandler's ferocity or punching power, and Chandler is confident that once he lands his shot, it will be lights out for Pimblett. He's already predicting that the fight will be over within the first few rounds, with Pimblett either on the receiving end of a knockout or in a position where he's forced to retreat to survive. Chandler's experience in 5-round fights also gives him an edge in terms of pacing. He's had 13 5-round bouts throughout his career, more than half of Pimblett's total professional fights. Chandler is confident that Pimblett will fade as the fight wears on, believing that the Brit hasn't yet been tested over a full 25-minute fight at this level. He stated, "I do think he was fading in the Tony Ferguson fight, and now he's locked into the cage for 25 minutes against one of the most ferocious guys in the lightweight division. I can fight 50 minutes, let alone 25 minutes. These are going to be deep waters he's never been in before." I prepare perfectly. It's gonna be a whole different ball game when you're locked in there for 25 minutes. As for the rest of the lightweight division, things are getting more interesting by the day. With the return of top-tier contenders and the potential rise of fresh challengers like Pimblett, the division is heating up. So what are your thoughts about this fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.